In the news tonight, state government says it's committed to ensuring transparent procurement process. State House of Assembly confirms Dr. Belonwo as Executive Secretary, Health Insurance Scheme. President Buhari signed Memorandum of Understanding with German Chancellor Merkel in Abuja. And on the foreign scene tonight, President Trump threatens to pull out of World Trade Organization. A very good evening to you and welcome to the news. I am Iberi Ugonna. State government has pledged continued commitment to eliminating wasteful spending through transparent procurement process to ensure good governance. Deputy Governor Dr. Nkemo Okeke stated this while speaking as the keynote speaker at the maiden edition of Engineer Mecca Muammar Eze annual public lecture series in commemoration of the 60th anniversary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers Awka branch. Government House correspondent Ejike Abana reports that the public lecture held in Awka has the theme, A Case for Good Governance, Role of the Procurement Process. His reports.
Dr. Okeke, who emphasized that the Obiano administration has demonstrated commitment to transparent procurement process through the institution of the Tenders Board to eliminate waste, said societies that are not striving for good governance are doomed. He traced the United Nations 8 basic steps to good governance, saying that the economic worth of Anambra today is worth 3.2 trillion naira, as its GDP would have been ranked 17th in Africa.
I'm always excited when the conversation is about good governance. It's not just because I'm involved, but because any society that is not striving for good governance is already doomed. Sadly, in many developing countries, good governance is still seen as an abstract, an ideal, and a utopia.
A guest lecturer who spoke on the theme, Engineer Chris Okoye, identified 3 drivers of good governance as due process, outcome, and the impactfulness of the outcome, stressing that linkage between good governance and sustainable development cannot be overemphasized. Engineer Eze noted that public procurement process is a key instrument for engendering good governance in any society, adding that building institutions and good systems are imperative as the absence of independent regulatory and inspectorate systems bedevils all aspects of development.
If we get it right, good governance and the procurement process, then we would have started a major repair of our great country, which is today being called a failed country.
Earlier, the state chairman, Nigeria Society of Engineers, Engineer Edmond Nkalo, noted that governance is about service delivery, saying that the lecture is in line with the vision of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, which centers on continuous education for their members and the public on matters that affect national infrastructural development. The event, which featured presentation of awards to the Deputy Governor and others, was attended by technocrats and stakeholders in engineering field in Anambra and beyond. In Awka, Ejike Abana, ABS News.
The 2018 Barge B Stream 2 Corps members posted to Anambra and Enugu states have been sworn in at the NYSC Temporary Orientation Camp, Umunya. Correspondent Ola Kelly has the details.
Governor Willie Obiano, who was represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Solo Chukwulebelu, said the orientation exercise is meant to prepare the corps members physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically for the challenge of the service year ahead. Governor Obiano said Anambra would continue to appreciate the contributions of corps members, noting that they have the intellect, energy, speed, education, and training to contribute towards transforming the state. He charged them to break new grounds and surpass the achievements of their predecessors in the scheme by setting competitive targets for themselves. The governor also advised the corps members to take advantage of the job creation programs and trainings during the orientation exercise to equip themselves towards creating jobs for themselves and for others, as this would help alleviate poverty and unemployment in the country. He assured them that the government will continue to provide an enabling environment for youths to maximize their potential of self-actualization and self-sufficiency.
The scheme has, over the years, lived up to this vision of accelerating the developmental process especially in rural areas, through community development projects embarked upon by your predecessors. One of the components of this is in the area of human capital development. You have the intellect, energy, spread, education and training to help us realize our collective dream of giving Anambra a global outlook of life.
NYSC State Coordinator Mr. Kende Aremu said there are 1,261 prospective corps members posted to Anambra State, while 746 were posted to Enugu State, but are all camped in Umunya in combined orientation exercise arranged by the scheme for this batch across the country.
I want to assure you, Your Excellency, at the end of 3 weeks on this camp, by the time you come to declare this course post, you will be faced with Nigerian young people whose orientation have been remodeled to give their all to Nigeria, which is presently what is lacking among Nigerian youths.
He thanks Governor Obiano for donating a new office complex to the NYSC Anambra State. Taking of oaths of allegiance and displays by corps members were part of the highlights of the ceremony. From Umunya, I am Ola Kelly, reporting for ABS News.
And away from that, the State House of Assembly has passed a resolution urging Governor Willie Obiano to direct the Commissioner for Works to immediately commence rehabilitation of the gully erosion at Ogene-Ogwazu Road, linking Anambra West and East local government areas. The resolution, which was sponsored by a matter of urgent public importance by the Majority Leader, Chief Victor Okoye, was passed during plenary. House of Assembly correspondent Chukwemeka Modeling was there and now reports.
Chief Okoye lamented that the gully erosion has washed off a bus culvert at the Ogene-Ogwazu Road connecting the two local governments, stressing that if urgent steps were not taken to salvage the situation, it could cause casualties.
Gully erosion has eaten up that road to the extent that it's impassable. For us to access Anambra West is very difficult, Mr. Speaker. It's a matter of urgent public importance and West. It's for all of us, Mr. Speaker, not only on the or those that are living in Anambra West.
Speaker of the House, Barrister Rita Madago, read out the resolution of the House.
Is going to be approved. Say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Also at plenary, the House confirmed the appointment of Dr. Onyemechi Belonwu as the Executive Secretary, Anambra State Health Insurance Scheme. The House equally passed a bill for a law to provide for the revision, printing, and publication of the revised laws of Anambra State for second reading. It is sponsored by the Majority Leader, Chief Victor Okoye. Similarly, a bill to provide for the prohibition of the operation of commercial motorcycles in the state scaled second reading. The Majority Leader, Chief Victor Okoye, explained that the essence of the bill was to give legal backing to the ban on commercial motorcycles in certain areas in the state, while the Deputy Speaker, Sir Harford Oseke, expressed joy that road accident has reduced tremendously in the state as a result of the ban on commercial motorcycle operators, and described the bill as a welcome development. The Chairman, House Committee on Information, Culture and Tourism, Mr. Kinsley Iruba, the Chief Whip, Chief Lawrence Ezodo, and the member for Onitsha North 1 constituency, Mr. Chubo Enwezo, supported the bill. Supporting motion for adjournment, the member representing Idemili North constituency, Mrs. Nkoli Mmegwaneze, commended Governor Willie Obiano for his prompt intervention on Ogidi Road, Uke, Idani, Gully erosion. From the State House of Assembly, Chukwemeka Modelim, ABS News.
The Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, has renewed its clarion call on residents of flood-prone communities to brace for relocation to emergency or holding centers located in 10 local government areas in the state. In a statement in Awka, the Executive Secretary of SEMA, Chief Paul Odenibo, explained that his clarion call was predicated on the latest red alert issued in Abuja by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, about imminent flood disaster in 6 states in the country, including Anambra. Chief Odenibo said communities most likely to be affected in the state are in Anambra East and West, Obaru, Onitsha North and South, as well as Ayamelum local government areas. Other flood-prone communities are located in Ekusigo, Ihiala, Awka North and Idemili South local government areas. The SEMA boss, however, reiterated that the state government is prepared to give succor to likely victims of the predicted deluge. He stressed the need for residents of riverine communities in the state not to take the warning of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency for granted, pointing out that prevention is better than cure. Chief Odenibo emphasized that credible reports indicate that the Kainji and Jeba dams in northern Nigeria, as well as the Lagbo Dam in Cameroon, are presently overflowing their dikes, pointing out that water level of the River Niger in Lokoja in Kogi State has exceeded their limits. The SEMA Executive Secretary insisted that NISA's red alert on imminent flooding in communities bordering the River Niger should not be taken lightly by residents of such areas. The Anambra Traffic Management Agency, ATMA, has charged all vehicles that ply in and around Bridgehead and flyover in Onitsha to enter any motor park of their choice for offloading or loading. This is contained in a press release signed by the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer ATMA, Mr. Chris Uzoechina. Mr. Uzoechina warned that any vehicles, including buses, tricycles, minibuses, that flout the directive will risk being towed. And moving on to foreign scene, President Muhammadu Buhari and the German Chancellor Angela Merkel has met at the presidential villa Abuja. Merkel arrived at the forecourt of the president's office at about 10:02 a.m. He was received by President Muhammadu Buhari and some top government officials. Merkel's visit to Nigeria is part of a visit to 3 African countries. She had earlier visited Senegal and Ghana. They discussed issues of economic ties, youth empowerment and security. Analysts called for caution by government to ensure they are not shortchanged in whatsoever economic relations being established, urging that federal government team must be ready to protect the interests of the country and the foreign relations. The Nigerian Union of Journalists has called on the federal government to take effective measures to guarantee the safety of journalists in the country. The union also called on the government to uphold and implement the Declaration of Principles of Freedom of Expression, which clearly calls for non-interference in an individual's freedom of expression. The national president of the group, Mr. Abdul Wahid Odusile, made the call in a statement released in Abuja and obtained by the ABS, and said that the number of journalists being exposed to different forms of impunity and attack has greatly increased, and therefore urgent steps are needed to address the ugly trend. The statement also called the attention of the federal government, the government of the 36 states of the Federation, and the Federal Capital Territory to the myriad of conventions signed by Nigeria to guarantee the safety of journalists. Moving on to the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has threatened to withdraw the U.S. from the World Trade Organization, WTO, claiming he treats its country unfairly. Mr. Trump stated this in an interview with Bloomberg News. The WTO was established to provide rules for global trade and resolve disputes between countries. Mr. Trump says the body too often rules against the U.S., although he concedes it has won some recent judgments. President Trump had claimed in an interview earlier this year that the WTO was set up to benefit everybody but the U.S., adding that they lose the lawsuits, almost all of the lawsuits in the WTO. However, some analysts shows the U.S. wins about 90% when it is the complaints, and losses about the same percentage when it is complained against. Mr. Trump's warning against about a possible U.S. pullout from the WTO highlights the conflict between his protectionist trade policies and the open trade system that the WTO oversees. And now for sports news tonight, Real Madrid and Croatian star Luka Modric has received the UEFA Player of the Year in Monaco, beating his former teammate Cristiano Ronaldo and Liverpool's Mohamed Salah to the prize. Modric, who started in the Real side that won the Champions League for the third year running, also led Croatia to the World Cup final. The 32-year-old was announced as the winner of the prize after Thursday's draw in Monaco for the season's Champions League group stage. Modric started out at Dynamo Zagreb and then had 4 years with Tottenham Hotspur before Real prized him away 6 years ago. Salah was in attendance at the Grimaldi Forum, but Ronaldo, now with Juventus, was not there. Modric has always been linked with a move away from Real this summer, with Inter Milan said to be keen on him, but he claims to be more than happy in the Spanish capital. And that's it on the news tonight. Remember that you can listen to news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go tonight, a quick reminder of our top stories. State government has said she is committed to ensuring transparent procurement process. State House of Assembly has confirmed Dr. Belongo as Executive Secretary, Health Insurance Scheme. President Buhari has signed Memorandum of Understanding with German Chancellor Merkel in Abuja. And on the foreign scene, we're brought to you that President Trump has threatened to pull out of World Trade Organization. And that's the size of our package tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Ibere Ugunna.